Support for Mission Nonprofit is provided by Thurston Talk.
This program is provided in the public interest by Thurston Community Media. More information at tcmedia.org.
The loss of a child impacts parents and families like nothing else. Today, we introduce you to a local organization helping families navigate these tragic events. Stay tuned to learn more about Raise for Rowan on this edition of Mission Nonprofit. Welcome to Mission Nonprofit. I'm Deborah Vinsel. Each month, we highlight the good work of nonprofit organizations in our community. Joining us today are Bryn Johnson and Fiona Velasquez from Raise for Rowan. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you for having us.
We appreciate you taking time out of your schedule. So I'm just going to toss it out here. I'm sure that a lot of our viewers don't know about your organization and would like to learn a lot more about it. So can somebody just share with us a little bit of the history of the Raise for Rowan organization?
In 2014, we tragically lost my daughter, Rowan. We quickly knew right away that we wanted to start something in her honor and give back to the community. And we right away knew our mission would be to help others that suffered the loss of a child. And we wanted to raise funding for these families to help put their children to rest, for headstones, any kind of final celebrations that they wanted to do in honor of their child. And it grew quickly from there. So we started fundraising with a 5K, 10K walk and run. And then we also did a gala. And our very first event, we actually did both of them on the same day. And we managed to raise like $36,000, on our first event. And I remember just being over the moon with the amount that we could raise in that day. And from that day forward, we've just continued to grow and expand, and we still continue to host a gala every year. And we're kind of transitioning from the run, but we try to always incorporate stuff for our angel families and fundraise. And now at our gala, we're able to raise close to $300,000 in one event. And that number of us serving those families has substantially grown year after year. And so that's what we do in a nutshell. We don't actually just limit to financial support as well. We try to offer emotional support for these families, let them know that their child's never forgotten, and just be a resource in many other ways besides just the financial aspect.
Mm-hmm. So when you say financial support, specifically, what does that financial support help with?
Either of you.
Go ahead.
Our financial support program is for funerals and cemetery costs. So we do pay directly to those funeral homes and cemetery facilities. Anybody can apply for a family, but that's where the money directly goes to. And like Bryn mentioned, we have an emotional support program. So once somebody applies and we've accepted an angel, they're added to our list, and we have emotional support programs like birthday cards and Christmas ornaments that go out year after year.
Okay. So I know that, this started obviously from a very tragic event in your life, and you've reached out to many organizations or many families. We talked a little bit about this before the open of the show. You're not just a Washington organization. Tell us about your reach.
Well, we are nationwide. We have had to scale back a little bit from serving as many states on the East Coast because we were really wanting to focus our funding where we were receiving funding. So predominantly from the Mississippi over, and
west.
Yes, west, but really heavily Washington, Oregon, Idaho, Arizona, California. So yes, all over. But we have served many states on the East Coast as well.
I looked on your website and saw the map, and there was pretty much some exposure in almost every state, it looks like.
Almost every state, yes.
Yeah. Are there any states you haven't reached out or haven't had an involvement
There's a couple.
with yet?
There are a few on the East Coast,
Yeah.
like Bryn mentioned. There was a scale back to the Mississippi West at one point, and so there's a few East Coast ones that we aren't helping right now, but I hope in the future we can expand our donor base. And
Great.
get
So,
that.
so once a family applies for some kind of support, is there a threshold? What are the eligibility requirements, and how much support do families get?
Yeah, that's a great question. And anybody
Great
can
question.
apply for a family. If it might not be the best time for a family to be able to put that together. The application's on our website and pretty easy to fill out. We are typically birth through 19 years old. So they have to have had a live birth. There are other foundations that can help with miscarriages and stillbirths. It was primarily because we want to make sure we can use our funding as long as possible. And typically the in-state Washington amount is $1,000 that we pay towards a funeral or a cemetery cost expense, and then out-of-state amount varies depending on the state. There are a couple of states, like Bryn mentioned, we have Arizona and California who've both held their own fundraisers, so we get to help those angels a little bit more.
So does Raise for Rowan have chapters in other states, or is it all specifically served from this organization located here in Thurston County?
Yeah, primarily
And that's
here
a great
in
question.
Thurston County. We have some small chapters that have some volunteers that are helping lead some of those efforts, but it's primarily here in our office in Tenino in Thurston County, yes.
Okay. So tell me about community partnerships. I know you've just shared your wonderful story of how your funding started with $30,000, and now you're 10 times that in your fundraising efforts. This is not something that a nonprofit does in a vacuum, so I know you must have community partners that you work with. You want to lift some of them up?
Definitely. Our long-term big supporter is Smead Capital Management. They're actually home-based out of the Seattle area and also in Arizona. But we partnership with the Chehalis tribe and Cowlitz tribe, Nisqually tribe. We have so much support from our local tribes in the area. And Puget Sound Energy has been awesome.
Yeah, we have a number of wonderful community supporters. Olympia Federal, Puget Sound Energy, Robert McFadden. With
Real estate.
James Nesbitt with Guild Mortgage, Dignity, Mills and Mills.
Oh,
right
yes,
in
they're
Tumwater.
awesome.
They're a wonderful partner of ours. And I feel like I'm missing people there.
I feel like,
have a
yeah,
lot
it's
of-
hard to keep up with them unless you have them in a list
Right.
in front of you and you're
Right.
like, okay, yeah. I mean, the community that we're surrounded by is just awesome. We have some really giving, generous businesses and individuals in Thurston County and surrounding. So very fortunate for our nonprofit.
Now, is there staff involved with this, or is this an all-volunteer organization?
We do have some staff, yes. I am the only full-time staff member as the executive director, and then we have Bryn as our founder, and then we have a part-time administrative assistant, Elizabeth Hill, and a part-time somebody who comes in to help us seasonally with events, Samantha Johnson.
Well, speaking of events, and you touched on these earlier, that you started with a 5K and a 10K run, was that what you
Yes.
said?
Yeah.
So what are the events that you host now to help generate funds to support your families?
Well, I would say again, the biggest is the dinner and auction. We do a themed party every year closest to Rowan's birthday. So it's kind of a big event that our longtime supporters look forward to, honoring her at the same time. But that's the one where we probably raise the most funding. We host that in April every year. And then our golf tournament, which is down in Chehalis at the Riverside Golf Course. And that is in May. Yeah.
And go ahead.
Bryn mentioned we typically in the past have done a run, a 5K, and this year we're just changing things a little bit, and we will have a celebration for our families to join us at our office in Tenino during Oregon Trails Days in Tenino.
And that's coming up in
July. Yep, I think
Okay.
it's the last weekend in
last
July
Saturday.
on a Saturday. We're going to invite our families to come to the parking lot and honor their angels with us as we all walk together in the Oregon Trails Day Parade.
Nice. So speaking of families, how many families have you reached out? Have you served?
741 since Bryn founded us.
741 in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
It is amazing.
That's amazing. So tell me a little bit about how people can engage with you. Do you need volunteers? Are there other ways that people can support your organization?
Yeah. Volunteers are wonderful. Volunteers for our events. The success of our events really is on volunteers who help us and get us through those big days. But day to day in the office, we're always looking for people who can help us with some of our emotional support programs. Like I mentioned, we send out birthday cards and volunteers help write those. We send out Christmas ornaments and volunteers help package those. and we send out care packages a few months after an angel's passing. So those are all things that volunteers can come in and help us do on a regular basis.
Really, anytime.
Yeah.
We always have some kind of odd jobs too that we're always looking for help. So,
Yeah.
we do all the own property maintenance on our building and so we always are looking for help with even just like pulling weeds or pressure washing. I mean, so
Washing the windows.
it's kind of honestly anything. We always try to find, volunteers that want to spend their time like giving back to us.
Well,
so.
speaking of your building, where is your facility located? Your office?
We are actually in the heart of Tenino, Washington, right on the main strip of Sussex Avenue. And that's been our one and only office that we've ever had. We started obviously from my home, and we're volunteer based for quite a few years before we were able to get to the point of having an office space, and it's perfect. It's great.
Is it a place that folks could drop in to get more information? Are there,
yes.
So do you have regular office hours?
Yes, we're typically there Monday through Friday, sometimes with a small staff. If somebody has to pop out for a meeting, the doors might be closed.
You put a sign on the door. I got you. Yeah.
But typically Monday through Friday, 9 to 4.
9 to 4. So if people just want to come in, drop off a
Yes.
donation or
Yes.
We've got
volunteer for
merchandise.
something.
Yep, we
Great.
have some merchandise always up for sale. It's always great to get auction basket items or donation basket, raffle baskets. Those are always things that come in handy that we use many times.
So tell me a little bit about the emotional support side of your services. We've talked a little bit about the funeral expense piece, which is a huge help, I'm sure, to families who are in their grief trying to figure this all out. But then after that emotional support piece, that grief management piece, tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, as Fee mentioned earlier, we do have an emotional support committee that actually sends out, handwritten cards to each family that we've served. The new families, we send them a care package, obviously, a few months after their child passes. And we try to always do something specific for each child, whether it's a boy or a girl, or if we want to have something monogrammed for their family. We really put a lot of thought and detail into these packages. We also offer books for their siblings. So a lot of times, they might have a brother or sister at home that's also dealing with grief. And so we never want them to feel left out either. So we usually send them a book. We just try to always make sure everybody in the household is not forgotten about. And with that, our staff and our volunteers and our board members, usually if there's a connection in any way or somebody needs like one-on-one, just somebody to talk to. We have a really open, team that does that. And just building personal relationships with the families that need it and want it. Not everybody wants that, but there is a lot of mothers that I've been able to connect with over the years that I've built really strong relationships with, and they can call on me at any time, and I feel like our team members do that too.
We've recently added Healing Hearts, an emotional support group that's going to be meeting at our office the third Tuesday of the month. We're trying that out. It was something families asked for, so it's new, and we have a couple of moms and some guidance counselors who are willing to volunteer their time.
So it's like a grief support group.
That's the idea. It's a grief support group. We're kind of letting that organically see where it goes and see if that meets the need of people that are asking for things. So, but the third Tuesday of the month at our office.
Third Tuesday of the month at what time?
5:30.
At 5:30 at your office.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it has not started? That is.
We started a couple months ago. We were partnering with Dignity Meals and Mills, but we're going to be shifting it over to our office for a little while.
And how's the response been to that?
It's been mixed. Yeah. It was one of the things that people asked for the most as parents. The biggest request we got, but I think showing up is different. And I think what Bryn was talking about with connecting directly with families is more comfortable for a lot of moms and
And also
dads.
frankly, sometimes it's just the schedule.
Yeah.
It's like this is
And
the day
that's
we're
the
doing
trick.
it. We know
Yep.
how that is.
Busy lives.
Yeah. So have we hit on the most of the really pertinent, important things for your organization to share with the community? I want to make sure we don't miss anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, for the most part. I think definitely maybe just we are always looking for partnerships, in any way. So whatever would serve, another local business or corporation, we love partnering and making it worth their while and our helping us out too.
We've had a couple of local places do like beneficiary events. We just had an RV, Beto's RV in Chehalis just did a little beneficiary event where for a weekend, anybody who bought an RV, they were going to donate $100 to us. So those things are wonderful. Sometimes restaurants are willing to do that for us, and those things are very wonderful. And we'd love to give them our support on that as well.
So if there was something you wanted to share with a family that is either still in their grief or facing this grief, is there a specific message? I'm going to ask you specifically, is there a specific message you would like to share?
Oh, that's a tough one.
It's okay.
It's a tough one. I'm just going to be real, and it's hard. It's really hard, long road. I don't want to get emotional, but it's obviously been some time for me since I've lost my daughter, and it's been a roller coaster the whole way. So there's times when you think, wow, I'm finally at this great place in my grief, and it can hit you and just knock you rock bottom right all over again, So just keep fighting the fight. And what's helped me personally is obviously not only this organization, but anything that those families can do that is like their way of honoring their child. That's always helped me. Like at Christmas, we always do a little Christmas tree at my daughter's grave. And my kids pick out fresh ornaments every year, and anybody in the family can stop by and put their own ornament on. So, and then that's up pretty much for a month or sometimes 2, because I don't get there right away to get it down. Sure. But just creating those like memories where you feel like you're still including, like that's really what's helped me along the way, is just still including Rowan in our everyday lives. And my kids still feel like a good relationship with their sister, even though she's physically not here, And that has helped me. I think over the years still feel like, she's not forgotten, like she still lives in our house, and she is still a big part of our community and our family. So I guess that would be a piece of advice, is just create your own memories and your own, things that can get you through the birthdays and the holidays and things like that.
So how can people get a hold of your organization? We need to share all that contact information.
Yes, absolutely. There are a lot of great ways. Of course, we have our website, raiseforrowan.org, and there's ways to contact us directly through there. You can email us at info@raiseforrowan.org. You can call the office. We have social media. We have Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn, I think. We do. We have LinkedIn. If you're looking for like up-to-date information, we're sharing the most up-to-date usually on our Facebook and our Instagram as far as events and the things that you can get involved with. Absolutely. And again, our website.
Okay. Anything else? Any last comments? I think we've...
No, not for me.
I don't know.
I feel like I'm forgetting something important, but hopefully.
Well, I would, other than to say, please support. This is a phenomenal mission that you have, and it's a little unique. I don't know that we've had another organization on the program that has such a specific focus, and we honor your efforts that way. So thank you so much for taking the time to join us and to share the story.
Thank you for having us.
You're more than welcome. Nonprofits in our community educate our children, enrich our lives with the arts, protect our environment, and support our neighbors in need. Join us again next month when we introduce you to another great local organization here on Mission Nonprofit. Thanks for watching.